Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Heather, and today we're going to be starting a reading vlog where I read 4 art. I was able to get 3 of these books from NetGalley, and one of these books was sent to me by the author. So yeah, I'm really excited. There's 4 books in this video that I'm going to be reading. Let me just get my handy dandy phone out so I can tell you correctly. I'm going to be reading One Dark Night by Richelle. I actually started this last night and I got to about the 50% mark, and I'll talk to you about that in just a second. It's a detective thriller. Then I have The Other Sister by Jessica R. Patch. This is a mystery. I read some Jessica R. Patch a couple years ago and I really enjoyed her book. And I was really excited when the publisher was like, hey, here's this book, go get it. I was like, okay, cool, I'll go get that. And I'm just really excited to read this. I really liked her previous book that I read. I can't remember the actual name. Cry in the Dark, I believe. I'll put a picture up on the screen. But I really enjoyed that as a detective thriller, and I believe that this one is supposed to be more of a mystery than anything. So excited about that. Then I have Julie Chan is Dead by Zhang. I'm really excited about this. I've heard like everybody talking about this book. It's being promoted everywhere, and I was really excited that I was able to get my hands on it. This is a mystery book as well. And then I have Scurry by Seann Barbour, and this is a horror book about a girl who can talk to cockroaches, and I believe there's a serial killer trying to kill her. So those are the 4 books that I'm reading in this particular vlog. The first one that we're going to talk about is One Dark Night by Richelle. Ended up starting this book yesterday. I got to the 50% mark. It's a detective thriller, and we're in this really small town. It's like a boarding school surrounds this town, and everybody knows everybody. I believe the population is about like 500 people, so it's very small. And there is an urban legend about Sally in the woods. Also have the book starting out on Halloween night, where a group of these teenagers go into the woods next to the folly, and they like try to do this trying to connect with Sally. The next day we find out that there is a dead body at the folly. So there's this big mystery, and there's a lot of different characters in here. We have Rachel, who is the mom of Ellie, who is a teenager at the boarding school, and Rachel is also a teacher at the boarding school. And then we have Ellie's dad, Ben. He is the main detective on the case for the girl that was found after Halloween at the folly. And we're just following a bunch of different characters, but the author is doing a really good job at giving everybody their own identity in this book. I look for that. If there's a lot of characters, I always look for characters to have their own identities, because obviously you want every character to, like, you want to be able to recognize every character when they come on the page, and I think she's doing a really good job at that. I'm also liking how a lot of these characters, especially Ellie in particular, she is not the perfect teenager. She has flaws. She talks about her flaws. Her parents are able to identify her flaws, and they want her to be successful, but they also are really worried about her mental state too, because she's never really been popular. She's always kind of been the awkward person, but they are trying really hard to get her to talk to them and to just like try to figure out what's going on with her. And I really appreciate that part, because it's really hard to get to teenagers. It's really hard to get them to talk to you once they become like a teenager and you suck and they know everything and they're gonna go do what they want. So I really like that aspect of the book. Her parents are super involved, and you don't really get that in a lot of books these days, where parents are just kind of like off in the wind and everything. But I really enjoy and really appreciate her parents in that aspect. But we find out some things about Ellie. I figured that they were coming about, but there's also a few other people in here that I'm like, I don't trust you at all, because we find out who the girl is that got murdered, and it's very close to the actual school itself. So there's some darker things going on here, and just meeting some of the other characters, I'm like, you're suspicious, you're suspicious, you're suspicious. But it's really focusing on Ben, Rachel, and Ellie at the moment. So yeah, that's just my update on that book. I'm going to continue reading it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have not already, please subscribe. But yeah, I don't know why I started this video out in the cold, because it decided that it wanted to turn like 40s again where I live after tornadoes came through and, you know, destroyed everything. Now it's freezing again, so I don't know why I started it out here, but I am cold, and so I'm gonna go in. But yeah, just wanted to fill you in, let you know what this video is, and I hope you enjoy it. So I ended up finishing One Dark Night by Hannah Raquel, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. I thought that it was a pretty good, obviously, crime thriller, suspense thriller. There were a lot of good twists and turns in it. There were a lot of things that I didn't see coming personally. The endings twist I thought was done really, really well, and I'm excited to continue to read this author, because everything in this story is something that I look for in a thriller. I look for a good twist. I look for a good character backgrounds. I look for messiness, because the story is about a family and what they've been going through as a family, because Ellie's parents are divorced, and she's always like, she's 17 and her parents have always been together, and then something happened and they got a divorce. So it's just kind of set her world on fire as well, and she's having to navigate that. And then Rachel is having to navigate being single for the first time in forever, and then I think his name is Ben. He's navigating a new relationship while also being a detective on a case that's really close to his daughter. So there's just a lot of dynamics in this story. I also liked the urban legend of this town, and it was just very messy, very intriguing, and it came together really well. So then I started to read Scurry, and Scurry is a book about a girl who can talk to cockroaches, and she is up against this serial killer. You're getting to know her. Do I remember her name at the moment? No, but you're getting to know her and her background, because where she comes from, she's trying to forget, but something has happened to take her back to her small town, and the author is doing a really good job of weaving in her background and all of the things that she went through as a kid, and how she has become the person that she is. She is a bug doctor, or like a bug person. I can't remember what the actual name of it is. She's getting her doctorate in bugs. She loves bugs. Like I said, she can talk to cockroaches. She's been able to talk to cockroaches since she was little. She's never really fit in anywhere, and now that she has found her people, she actually enjoys her life. But like I said, something has happened, and she's having to go back to her hometown and pretty much hit head on with some of the things that she has dealt with in the past. Something has happened. Somebody has ended up dead, very close to her again, and she's just gonna have to deal with some of the things that have happened in the past where she didn't actually deal with the trauma, and she's realizing that, and she doesn't want to go back, but she has to, you know. So it's just one of those stories. I haven't gotten to the actual like serial killer part of this story yet, like the new serial killer. The old serial killer, freaking terrifying, like absolutely terrifying. The way, oh my god, the way that the author has been able to write the terrifying parts of this story, because if you have a fear of spiders, know that going into this book, because there are spiders. And the way that the serial killer has, like, the way the serial killer has held his victims, I'm like, ugh. It made my skin crawl, okay? It made my skin crawl. And that's one of the things that this author can do really well. Like, he can make you feel, and he can also disgust you at the same time. And that's how it is. Because it's terrifying, but it's also like, damn, that's really sad. Like, there's some really sad parts of this story. It's very, very emotional at some parts, because our main character, because she can talk to cockroaches and she's weird and everything, she is ostracized by her peers, and she just goes through life having to deal with that. She's also not ostracized by her parents, but her parents just find her very an odd child and they don't know how to deal with her, and everything's fine. Everything is, you're dealing with everything and everything's okay. But it's really not. And she doesn't get the help that she needs when she's younger. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. But then I also started the other sister too, because I was like, I really want to just read all of these books. And I'm 50% into Scurry, and then I am about 35% into the other sister. I didn't know if I was going to like this book at first, and I still don't know if I'm really vibing with it all that much. So we have a chick who is pretty much, she's poor. She's a struggling artist. She is from the foster system, and she has Tommy and she has Tilly, and those are the two people that she met while she was in the foster system. But then she finds out that she has a twin sister, and navigating all of those things, and something just happened, and I don't know if I can really trust our main character because she's sketchy. She's a sketchy little person. She's a sketchy little human. And I don't know if I can trust her all that much, to be completely honest. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about her, because the story just kind of went, and not that I don't dislike where the story is going, but I wasn't expecting it. So that's a good thing. And that's something that I can say about Jessica R. Patch's writing, is she throws in some plot twists and you're like, kind of like whiplash, you know, a little bit, but it's not a bad whiplash. It's just like, dang, I wasn't expecting that. And that's how I'm feeling about this book. So those are my updates for this video. Yep. Okay. I'll let you know when I finish one of these books, and I'll let you know how I feel about them. Hi, updating you because I ended up finishing Scurry, and I also ended up finishing the other sister. I gave them both 4 stars. I really liked both of them. Jessica R. Patch writes some of the best twists in thrillers that I have read for a while, okay? And I was not seeing that last twist coming in the story. Just know it's twisty, it's turny, it's messy. There are morally gray characters in this book. There are things that you're gonna read about and you're gonna be like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And they all have a purpose. Like, you know how sometimes when you're reading a story and you're like, why is the author doing this? And it's really like, it's not ambiguous, but it's just like thrown in there to have something in there like fluff. Jessica R. Patch doesn't do that. She has a purpose for every single thing. And that last twist at the end, I was not expecting it. And I liked how outrageous the story was. I liked how strategic everything was in this story. There is a criminal investigation going on. There is stolen identity. There's just a lot of stuff going on, and I really liked it. And I don't want to say anything else because I don't want to spoil anything for you. I accidentally put a little bit of a spoiler on Instagram, and somebody was like, hey, that was a little bit of a spoiler, and I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So I'm glad somebody pointed that out to me, because I didn't really even think that it was a spoiler. But the more I thought about it, like when I was writing my review, the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, that's kind of a spoiler. So I'm not going to say anything about it, because evidently I spoil things sometimes, and I don't want to do that to you, because this is a really good book. If you're looking for sister, thriller, a lot of family drama, murder, all of those things, this book is for you. I like it. I like this book a lot. Alright, and then Scurry. I gave Scurry 4 stars. I've never looked at cockroaches like I do now, because evidently cockroaches are very valuable, and I knew that, but I've always thought like cockroaches are disgusting little creatures and everything like that. But the author really did a good thing here by explaining what cockroaches actually do. So it's not just like about Katie and her profession and then all these murders and stuff like that. There's also a lot of scientific wave in here, and I really enjoyed that part of it. And I will never look at spiders the same either. I'm not a fan of spiders or cockroaches, okay? But the way that Seann was able to write Katie's story and dive really deep into trauma and just the overall evils of humanity is the absolute horror in this book. And it's very slow and it just sneaks up on you. And there's so many sad moments in this story. Katie, even though she is an adult, she's still going through a lot of trauma. And she's just trying to navigate life. And she's never really had a support system because she's always been considered the weird girl. And when she goes through what she goes through in her teenage years, even before that, like, people have just... Katie being able to talk to cockroaches, and when she was younger, people making fun of her, that just really solidified her dislike of people. And I understand that. And the older that she got, she finally found a group of friends in high school. And then you see what happened to that group of friends, and then she goes off to college and she finds this group of people and they finally feel like a family to her. So found family and like a coming of age story is all in this book. And like I said, the horror aspect of this book just kind of sneaks up on you, and it's talking about the horrors of humanity rather than like the typical horror genre. And it's just done so well, and I really enjoyed my time with Katie. The only critique that I have of this book, and the only reason it didn't get to 5-star, is some of the present past like breaks in the chapters. They were hard to follow sometimes. I wasn't sure where we were with timelines, so I would have liked to have seen like a time period or something like that, because that was hard to follow at times. You really had to pay attention to the characters, and there were a lot of characters in here, like a lot of side characters. So if you kind of forgot who was who, it was a little bit harder to distinguish moving forward. But overall, I think that this book was really well done. And I think that if you like slower paced horror that is about the horrors of humanity in general, I think that you're really going to like this story, and just give it a try. It sounds weird, but it works. It just really worked for me, and it's the type of weird horror that I really enjoy. So pick it up. So I also started reading Julie Chan is Dead. I'm reading a lot right now, okay? I had some arcs that I needed to get finished. That's the whole point of this video. But I started really reading Julie Chan is Dead, and at the very beginning, you know what is happening. Julie has a twin, like an estranged twin, and her twin ends up dying, so Julie ends up taking over her life. And her sister is an influencer. And I like what the author is doing in this story, because Julie absolutely cannot stand influencers when she takes over her sister's life. And then when she finally gets into her sister's life and she sees like all the free stuff that you get and how much recognition you get, and how like if you are liked on social media, people are always commenting on how great you are and they just really like you. But then when you do something, you get canceled. So she's going through all of that right now. And she meets this friend group, and she can't understand why her sister was not like speaking to these people. And about like the halfway point, something happens to where she's actually starting to realize, what did I just get myself into? Like, why did I do this to myself? Why did I think this was a good idea? So, I mean, she's already thinking that before, but there's something going on right now to where she is like, I think I messed up. So, and Julie is very cynical. She is jealous of her sister because her sister was adopted to this rich family. And then Julie, when she was younger, she had to go to their biological aunt. And her aunt is a heifer. And Julie's life was hard, while she thinks that Chloe's life was like perfect because Chloe got everything that she wanted and all that. And obviously when you see somebody online, it's completely like, most of the time you just see the good times, you know, you see like the good side of the life that the person is living in. And she's finally starting to understand her sister while she's also dealing with her past life, and she's trying to run from her past. And you can't run from your past. You have to deal with stuff in your past head on a lot of times. And she's trying to figure that out. But just the switch from Julie at the very beginning, where she was just like social media, but then now she's falling in and everything is hers rather than her sister's. That dynamic is so interesting to me, because it is showing how people actually like are online. A lot of people, once they get rich or once they start seeing all that money coming in, all the free stuff and everything, they lose their authenticity. And this is like a not making fun of social media. What is that word called? Wouldn't even say sarcastic. This is like a love-hate letter to social media influencers, I think. And the author is really, like, you can tell that this author knows how social media works. It is very well ingrained in this book. And it is just crazy to see Julie's transformation just at the halfway mark of how different she's acting right now and how big-headed she has gotten. And I don't know what's going to happen, y'all. I have no idea what's about to happen. I mean, there's something going on with her friends. I'll tell you that. There's something happening in there. And I'm interested to see how the story's going to play out. Either I'm going to love this story or I'm going to like, no. It's not going to be one of those in-betweens, I don't think. But either way, it's very interesting to me. And I like how the author is handling a lot of those conversations that people have on the internet every single freaking day about how social media is ruining the world. And she's like, hold my beer, here you go, here's this book. And I'm interested to see, like I said, how the story goes. So there's my long spiel about what I've been reading. I'll let you know when I finish something. Hello, I just got off work and I wanted to fill you in and let you know that I ended up finishing Julie Chan is Dead, and I absolutely loved this story. The overall social commentary, or just the commentary in general about social media and how people will do anything to become famous and keep their fame and throw people under the bus, do outrageous things just so they can keep their fame and stay relevant, was so well done in this book. Like, it was so well done. And I love this book. Like, I absolutely loved it. There was this whole mystery about what happened to Chloe after Julie took over her, like, she slid into her life, and it was easy for her to do that. She had to keep up appearances because her sister was very well respected online, and then she gets in this group with all these other influencers and something just goes awry. And when it went the way that it did, I was kind of skeptical a little bit, because I was like, how's this gonna go? Because it reminded me a lot of some other books that I have read, and it also reminded me of a few films that I've seen, so I didn't want it to go the way that those films went, but it did its own little thing, okay? And it was fabulous. I absolutely loved it. You can get your hands on it. I totally would, especially if you're looking for a thriller that has a lot of social commentary, like I said, about social media. And it also has a lot of satire in it too. The way that it was written is kind of sarcastic in a way. And I've found out that I really love satirical literature. And that's something that I have really found that I enjoy. So yeah, and I finished that, gave it 5 stars obviously, but I am reading Scattered Acres by Heather Gray at the moment. This is a romance, and it's a billionaire romance, age gap, small town, suspense thriller, or not suspense thriller, a suspense romance. And so far it's so far so good. It's very easy to read. It's easy to get into. The characters are very lovable, so I'm enjoying that. And I'm about 68% in, but I just wanted to fill you in and let you know that that's what I am reading and how I felt about Julie Chan is dead. And to tell you about this one, but yeah, so far so good. Hi. Sorry, that was a little loud and obnoxious, but I finished, I just got off work. I need to make sure my computer shuts down first. I finished Scattered Acres, and I'm giving it 4 stars. I was going to give it 3.75 stars, but I was like, okay, I keep thinking about it, so I'm going to bump it up to a 4. I thought that it was words. I thought that this was a really good small town romance. It was very like soft romance, but it also had some steamy scenes, and I was like, give it all to me. This author knows how to write a steamy scene, and I absolutely loved those scenes. I loved that Julia was very open with how she wanted to take charge. I loved how Elliot was just like, I'm gonna let you take charge right now, but next time it's my turn. And it was very nice to see them talk about what they like and about their expectations when it comes to intimacy. I really enjoyed that part of it. And their romance, even though it was an age gap, they didn't feel that far off of the age. He was almost 40, she is 26. So it was, you know, that's not that huge of an age gap, but there was an age gap there. And I also really liked how down to earth Elliot was. He is rich, but you meeting him and like learning about him, he did not flaunt his wealth, which I really like in stories. I like when characters don't sit there and they flaunt their money and like, oh, I'm so rich. Yeah, I just got a lot of money. I can do whatever I want to with it, you know? And Elliot wasn't like that at all. Even though he liked the big city and everything, you would never know that he had money. And I like that part about him. He just was very down to earth, and he was a realistic character. And he's rich, but whatever. He's got money and he gives it away and he does what he wants to with it. He does really good things in that aspect. And even though there was some miscommunication, and I don't like that in my romances, I thought this was done well, because Elliot's reason behind not really telling Julia who he is, like, not who he is, but like his part in some of the conflict that she's in, I think he did it out of the goodness of his heart, and he wasn't trying to be like keep secrets from her. I think he was actually like trying to not hurt her, and I appreciated that about him. When they resolved the conflict, it was done in a real way, and I appreciated that. So obviously I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I am going to continue on with the series. This was actually the 3rd book in a series. You can read them as standalones. And Lillian's story sounds very interesting, and I want to read more about her. I really liked her character. All the side characters in this book were really good too. So I am going to continue on with this series. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments down below if you plan on reading any of these books. They're all out right now, and all of them were wonderful. I really enjoyed all of them. So just let me know in the comments down below if you're going to read them, if you're going to pick them up, what you thought, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.